Hello, you guys. I'm so excited for this lesson. It's one of my favorites, and I think it's going to be really fun for you and your family. We are going to make this. This is part of the project. The other part is not completed yet, but I'm calling this a gratitude tree. And I just used some copy paper. That's all you need. You need copy paper, one or two colors of green and a brown for this project. Oh, and then you're going to want like a pen. I'm using a micron pen. You can use whatever pen you want, whatever pen you have on hand. That's what it's about. And I really think that this would also be a great art journaling piece. In fact, I will probably put this into an art journal, into my art journal or into my kids' art journal because it's so good. I got the idea based on this book. This is one of my favorite childhood books. I actually got it at a garage sale. I felt really sad. I'm like, no, this book can't be in the garage sale. It's such a good book. Anyways, if you have a second to read it from the library or whatever, I definitely think it's worth it. The book is really a simple book about an apple tree giving all that the tree has to his person, to the owner. The little boy grows up and loves the apple tree for the apples and for the shade, and then he becomes an old man and needs the apple tree again. And it's just a great book. It's one of my favorites. It's near and dear to my heart. So when I was thinking about how to make this art lesson, I thought we're as a country, we are going through a really rough time. We all know that. And I thought, well, what can I do? How can I help bring more joy into our lives? And there was an experience that I did from a book called The Vein of Gold by Julia Cameron. She writes The Artist's Way. She's really awesome. And I totally recommend reading The Vein of Gold if you have a chance. It's in there is an exercise on basically turning the garbage into gold, meaning turning the icky, yucky stuff that this life is giving us, throwing at us right now, and turning it into something positive. So turning the negative into a positive. And so that's what I thought we would do today. We will start by the parent, me, myself, will make just the tree trunks with the branches, and then my kids will make leaves. Here's an example. So I made the tree trunks, and then my amazing son made the leaves. And I don't know if we'll fill them all up with positive things in our lives right now, but I bet we could if we really wanted to. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to write all of the things that either bring us happiness or blessings that we feel are really our blessings this time of year. So that's kind of the project. I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see us actually doing the work. And then hopefully it will be a very fun experience. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a well worthwhile lesson to bring us joy and happiness. So give me just a second to get this started. And if I'm lucky,
it won't fall.
It won't fall. We've had some camera issues with, okay. Okay, I think we're good. Let's see. That looks right. And then I need to bring this up so you're seeing the whole picture, not just a little bit of it. Okay, so one of the things that I like to focus on in all my art lessons is I like to talk about design elements. Design elements, there's 5 of them. There's line, shape, color, texture, and space. So in my lessons, I try to think, what design element are we going to be using in this lesson? And for today, it's going to be a little bit of shape because we have leaves that are shaped. These are shapes. And then how they, now of course, my son did this. So how do the shapes react to each other? I like how he has done dark green right here, bigger leaves here, and smaller leaves here. That gives the art a lot of interest and a lot of form. But also the line work. Not all the lines are the same, which is good. You can tell that they're leaves. And I think you did a really good job. Here's one that I did. I did this one. I wanted to show lots of texture. And so instead of doing the line work for the leaves, I am doing the still trying to get this to be perfect. Anyways, I'm doing texture for the leaves, which is still fine, and it's very more gestural drawing, which is perfect. And then while I was doing that, my 5-year-old son was mimicking me, and that's a good thing for artists to do. That's how kids learn. He was mimicking my shapes and my texture to do his tree. And I think he did a great job of mimicking me. I like his lines. He's not just going all over the page. He's actually trying. And I like that he got creative enough to do something like that. It's just really fun. So anyways, when you're drawing your leaves, I'm talking to the kiddos.
Okay.
I want you to think about the line and the texture. If you're going to do a texture thing like that, or if you're going to do more lines like this, look at the space, look at how big they are, how small they are, and then go from there. Okay? All right. So to get started, parents, I'm using this brown crayon. If you have a brown marker, by all means, use whatever you have. And I'm just going to draw a tree. And I like to use a rule of thirds. So this is about a third of the way up. And then I'm going to and then I'm going to start going off as a V. And this is how I paint all my trees too, you guys, just with more techniques. But this is the bare bones of how I do my trees. And each branch is not the same, and then I look, do I like the space here? I like the negative space here. And I think that's good. I'm going to leave that right there. I'll do one more tree. I'll give this one to Eli.
I'm not finished it yet.
We're going to want to use those markers. I don't know where here's your dark green. So you got your light green and dark green. If you wanted, I always like to have a value or a tone to my trees. It just gives it interest. Use what you have. If you want to use colored pencils, I think that's a fun thing too. I'm going to make this tree really thick. It's a really big tree. And I'm just gesturally drawing this so it looks kind of like a tree trunk, right? This tree is going to look thick and big. Probably, we had to do a lot of yard work yesterday. And so I think my yard work, we got rid of a lot of branches and brush in our yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you don't want to fill up the page because you got to have room for leaves. So parents, I know it might be easy. You might want to just keep going with your branches. Just keep it simple. A 5-second, 10-second doodle of trees is enough. All right, there you go. Okay, I already have one made, so I'm going to go ahead and do this with you guys. I did the texture one. I'll do half texture and half leaves, and you can draw along with me if you'd like. All right, so I know that at the bottom of my tree is more dense than at the top. And I also like to think, is this a springtime tree? Is this a winter tree? Is this a summer tree? I'm going to go with like a early summer sort of tree. And I always like to start with the way it grows. I know that sounds kind of silly, but I started down here and I grew the trunk, right? And so now I'm going to draw the leaves. And again, I'm using what I have, which is a really small, one of those Pips Greek markers that came in a kit because I couldn't find the right green. Well, whatever. So we'll do these leaves. And remember, we want enough space to be able to write in leaves or give enough space to write on the leaf. So, and to make my leaf, I just like to almost do like little almond shapes. They're kind of ovals, but it has a point at both ends. And if I am going to and I do like to use the rules of thirds. So like this is very interesting because there's 1, 2, 3. This one only has 2, which is fine because if I were to put another leaf down here, it would crowd. And if I would put a leaf down here, I think it would take away from that. So, and I still want some time with some of the darker green. All right, so that's how I would draw my leaves if I were to draw my leaves that way. I'm going to take this marker, and this is a Tombow marker. If you have middle school kids or high school children, students, whatever, kids, Tombow markers are water soluble, but they have a brush tip, so you can really get some neat lines. And I'm already making my this is just a demo leaf tree, but I think it'll still work. I think, you know what, but I can make some really fine lines and really curvy lines, or I can make just I have this fine tip where I can really just go in with a lot of details if I want. I will say that these markers are about $2 to $3 a piece. Or you can buy them as a set for, sometimes you can get them on sale for about $16. And they have different color combinations. The one that I am using is called, it's fine. It's called the lettering favorites. So it's meant for brush lettering, but they curate the palette to different colors. And so my daughter has the lighter green and I have the darker green. Yeah. And so, but they have like landscape palettes. My favorite palette for Tombow is the primary and secondary colors, and those are really fun. But anyways, if I were to make this tree, I just this is a texture, and I just kind of move my pen and I make like S's and figure 8s, and I just kind of scribble. That's a word. That's a technical term, you guys. Scribble. And I just to make your tree look textured. I mean, if you ever look at a tree and you have your glasses off, the leaves move too fast. And so in my mind's eye, they just look like scribbles. So anyways, that's what we're doing. Okay. I love it. Let me show you kind of what it's okay. This is what my son did. I really like that. And so, yeah. And then just so you get an idea of how kids' art really looks, it's not supposed to be a picture perfect, artistic tree, but by any means, it's a good time. Okay. So now when your tree is completed, I'll take Eli's first tree. He is in 2nd grade. And so this is a 2nd grade tree. This is a kindergarten tree. And then my daughter, who is taking her time and is looking really nice, I'll show you hers in a little bit. So you can kind of get an idea of what to expect between ages. Yep, that's fine. Or how about you sit here and color with mommy? Not right now.
Kirsten, we're in art.
We're doing
art class.
Not TV time. Not Kindle time. Okay, so as we start this, I'm going to think of what are some things that we are not enjoying right now? Like give me 2 things that that is sad that you are just not happy about?
Not going out, not going to like parks and stuff like that. Yeah,
Not being able to play outside in parks.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really
Parks and going to walks at different kind of trails that
okay.
are closed.
Yeah, the all the good parks are closed, aren't they? All the good trails are closed. I know. It is sad. Okay, so to change. Yeah, I know, but we're doing art right now. So you can sit by Chloe and do art.
Art.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to.
Me, Kindle.
No Kindle right now.
No. You can do anything except.
So to change that into a positive. Come here. Come here.
I finished my tree.
Maybe another. You get to sit right here with mommy.
No.
So for a positive outlook on that, it could be that we need to spend more time outside playing outside. So we could say playing outside. Playing outside. And we could say with our family, but that's okay. Walking around our neighborhood. That is always fun. We saw some daffodils come up.
Oh yeah, we did. They're pretty. Getting some fresh air.
How about feeling the sunshine?
Oh, my eyes are really small.
And fresh air. We could say
Number 2.
breathing fresh air.
So what was your first one? Okay, quite excited.
Mhm. What are some other things that we are really grateful for, even though we can't go outside or we can't go to parks or anything? I think baking more cookies at home, right?
Yeah, baking. Planning our Disney trip. with family.
Planning fun trips. That would be a good one. Instead of mommy doing all the planning, you guys get to tell us what you want to do. How about more art time, huh?
Yeah. And playing more time with family, baby.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Cooking with mom. Cooking. How about doing a puzzle with daddy? We did that.
Yeah, but we never finished it.
Well,
That's okay.
you still got the puzzle right there to doing puzzles.
It's a little bit crooked. Yeah, it's a little bit crooked.
Bad. So you could see, like, I could go on and on and on with the different things that we are grateful for. I'm grateful for family time, just reading together. And maybe listening.
Use a pen, Eli.
We'll say just watching my kids play, reading a good book. I have a couple of good books I'm trying to read. I think also using our imaginations more. What about observing nature, like that woodpecker that's driving me crazy outside of our house on our tree, which means we need to do something about the tree. But he is really pretty to look at. Anyways, we can just do nature.
That's what I put.
Nature.
I finished a branch. Gracie. They could put Gracie.
Oh yes, we got a new family puppy dog. We are grateful for puppies.
I put Gracie.
How about laughter? We have been laughing a lot more these days.
Yeah.
I feel like
After family time, more family time. It feels like.
Yeah.
We sort of been playing more games and stuff.
Oh yes, board games. I would say that's a good one.
I'm gonna put family time as one because we've been having a lot more family time.
Okay, so here, this is just a simple art project you can do as a family. I think the more that we talk about our feelings and our emotions, the better we can grow as a family. I also think that art in general, especially with kids, it's hard to always express your feelings. Art gives you another way to express those feelings and to get them out onto paper. A lot of times you'll hear art therapists say something to the effect of feelings don't always show up until you start coloring or painting or doing something with your hands. And I would agree. This is a great way to just kind of journal your day. It's nothing, I mean, I think it'll be really fun to hang up on our fridge or on our whiteboard and just as a nice reminder of, oh, look at all these wonderful things that we are grateful for. If you get a second, definitely check out The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. I think it was copyrighted. Oh my gosh, a long time ago. I was a kid. Let's see if there's a copyright. 1964 was the copyright. So, anyways, great book. Love the book. I love the line art. Yeah, totally worth looking into if you have it. I don't know, maybe there's a read aloud on YouTube, and I would definitely check it out. But anyways, before I go, I wanted to share with you two other mediums that I find really helpful. Did you want to show it? Okay, so my daughter, who is in 5th grade, this is her tree.
The leaves are
And
so
she's-
small.
Yeah, that's okay. You can always make your leaves bigger. You can always write outside of the leaves. There's no rules in
I
art.
added a little bit.
But it's looking really pretty, and you could even give me one of your markers. So if you're okay with me doing things to it, if I feel like this is a great way to just maybe when you're done, you can just add a couple of solid leaves just to add some design elements. You don't have to do it a lot, but I think a little bit will really work. And with these brush markers,
You can
makes
you
it
can
really
use
fun
it.
to just,
You can put
make.
full pressure on it and it won't hurt the pen.
yep, you can, I don't want to say abuse them, but you can definitely make.
Yeah, put like more pressure than on
Yeah.
like the regular
Mhm.
Crayola markers.
Yeah. These, I'm not joking, these markers are fantastic. I
Yeah,
love
they
them.
are. I'm
Makes
learning
me-
brush lettering, so I'm getting to use those.
So you
things a
could do
lot
something
more.
like that too. Make your tree personable for you and make it fun for fun for your kids. I think it has to be fun. All right, let me show you two mediums
And
that I wanted to share with you guys before I leave. Just to give you an idea, art is all about exploring different mediums. Right now, so we've been using markers and a little bit of watercolor, but
watercolor
these
pencil.
are watercolor pencils. They're made by Crayola. You can also get them from a couple of different brands. The Crayola ones I think are pretty good for the money. You're not spending, lots and lots of money on them, but they do give you a good quality. So if you're looking to buy some art materials because of this, what feels like it's going to be a forever pandemic, or wherever you're at, this is a watercolor pencil. So you can just color with it.
Regular pencil.
Or you can also add some water. And I'm going to share, I like to have a couple hues to go with it so you can kind of see the blending. And it will blend all right. It's not going to blend great, but it'll blend okay. But as soon as I add water to it, like that's where the magic comes from. And I'm going to blend that one as well. And up here, just so you can get an idea. And then you can also just add some water and it will blend. And I'm just using a paintbrush and some water and it will blend. So let me, and this is really fun for color theory, just to play with. You can totally see this becoming like an ocean or a sky maybe. I don't have it in the right, I don't have my lines going in the right direction, but it's really fun to play with, and my kids have fun playing with these. As you can tell, Chloe was super excited when I brought them out, so I'll probably leave them out for her to play with for the rest of the day. Anyways, and then if you were curious about another, if watercolor maybe is not so much your jam, because I get that not everyone wants to mess with watercolor, colored pencils are a great alternative. These are Prismacolors, and so I use them a lot for flowers, but they have this really richness to them, and they blend nicely too. You can kind of see that blending really well. And then I also have, I like to use these blender tools. These are just, you don't have to use them, but you can always blend them a little bit more this way. They also make a product called Gamasol, and it will just kind of make it almost look like a marker instead of a colored pencil. I have a couple of different brands of colored pencils. Artist Loft also makes colored pencils. They have a little more waxy look to them. They're not as neutral or as pure, but I think the Artist Loft is like the Michaels brand. It's great for kids pencils. If I were to work on like a real art project though, I would use my Prismacolors, but that's okay. I'm not totally picky. You know, the main thing with kid art is to just help them have the opportunities to color when they want to. Here is another fun color. This is a Prismacolor Neon Orange, and I always love orange and blue together because they're complement colors, but look at that. That is super bright. That would be a fun doodle to do. Anyways, this Thursday, so in 2 days from now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about mark making with household things. So if you have tempera paint or watercolor, and I'll show you a bunch of different ways I like to use watercolor and liquid watercolor. I'll be using liquid watercolor and probably regular watercolor in that class, and maybe some tempera paint. I haven't decided yet, but we're going to have a ton of fun putting paint onto paper and making a huge mess. It's going to be awesome. So hope you guys enjoy this fun tutorial and paint and doodle. And I would love to see your giving trees or your gratitude trees if you get the second to do that. And I think it's such a fun collaborative project for both parent and child. So we'll hope to see you soon and keep creating during these wonderful spring days. We'll see you later.